In our next segment, we're going to take a look at gold jewelry throughout time. We're going to look at the way that gold jewelry has been used in modern times and also some of the pieces from almost 200 years ago. So why don't we begin?
Well, let's start with what Lily is wearing, which is a wonderful gold look that integrates 19th century jewels, 20th century jewels, and 21st century jewels. We're going to start with her ring. Her ring is a beautiful 1940s citrine and gold ring. 1940s were all about gold and using these wonderful semi-precious stones to have great effect. And here you have a very sumptuous citrine ring in gold.
And since we like to throw some fun facts at our friends, here's a couple of fun facts about the 1940s and this ring. In the 1940s, World War II was happening, and so that platinum was reserved for the war effort, and gold in its colors of rose and green and yellow became very popular, and you started to see jewelry done mostly in those types of metals. On top of that, the escapism that people were looking for was found where? At the movies. Hollywood was all about big and glamorous, and so you saw stones like amethyst and citrine and aquamarine, stones that are naturally very large in nature, became very popular in jewelry. And this is a great example of that, this cocktail ring with a 37-carat citrine. This is French hallmarked, which tells you that it's really made in a very fine quality.
It's beautiful. Also, fact, citrine, amethyst, and aquamarine also were much more affordable gemstones. And they also, compared to rubies and sapphires and emeralds, and that's why they were also favored. But here, Lily is wearing a wonderful 19th century gold chain with it. This is a chain that's 53 inches long, which is very typical of the 19th century. Have these beautiful long chains.
Intricate link too. It's a beautiful link.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite things in vintage jewelry is the variety of styles in gold chains. You see these necklaces with all of these different intricate links. You can imagine how long it would have taken someone to make that. This is in the age before jewelry could be made by machines. This was handmade jewelry, and that's what's so amazing about these intricate links.
And as a wonderful complement to the necklace and to the ring, Lily is wearing collet set citrine earrings by Fred Leighton. These are by Fred Leighton, inspired by 19th century settings. The cushion-shaped citrines are set in silver and gold collets. Why don't we talk about that, Greg?
So in the 1800s, what we call the 19th century or the Victorian era, and the era before the Georgian era, jewelry was set in yellow gold. There was no alloy for white gold yet that was broadly used. There was not an awareness of how to use platinum in jewelry. And so jewelry was made in yellow gold, and because most of the diamond jewelry you wanted it to look bright and white, you would layer silver over the yellow gold. When it was first created, that would make the piece bright and white, but fast forward almost 200 years, and that silver has tarnished, and so now you've got that darkened metal look. And that's actually what people love today about antique jewelry, that darkened metal look that makes it look so edgy and yet so modern.
Well, the darkness of the metal creates a wonderful frame to the stones.
Absolutely, and the color of the stone, either the whiteness of the diamond or in this case, the beautiful golden tone of the citrine really pops off the background. And these are signed Fred Leighton. These are a pair of earrings that we make, and these earrings are 1,800. The citrines are 6 carats in total.
And she's also wearing 2 rings. They're signed Fred Leighton, a beautiful rose-cut Bombay ring, and a 7-stone old European cut diamond ring.
And
right?
here you see our use of that silver top gold technique where we are plating the yellow gold base with the layer of silver that we then oxidize. So you've got that darkened metal look to create the contrast between the white diamonds. In the Bombay ring, you've got all the mixed-shaped rose cuts, and then, of course, the 7-stone old European ring. 2 great rings, easy to wear together or individually. The mixed-shaped rose cut ring is 8,100, and the 7-stone diamond collet set ring is 3,700.
That's one great look.
Let's look at the ways gold's been used in some other great designs. So our first piece is a wonderful pair of earrings by a modern jeweler, someone working today that we are very close with here at Fred Leighton, someone by the name of Hanut Singh.
Yes.
Hanut is a jeweler based in India. He himself comes descended from royal family members, and he's taken that aesthetic of Indian glamour, and he's brought it to a modern sensibility with such a wonderful use of different materials.
And he loves to use rock crystal. And here you have Hanut's take on a classic pendant earring called a girandole, which has 3 drops, using rock crystal to great effect. Rock crystal, diamonds, and touches of ruby. Beautiful.
And it's got such a glamorous style to it. You can feel how it's inspired by the past era. And so that's a lovely earring, and that is $12,400. The next earring is this beautiful pair of Victorian yellow gold drops featuring 1.5 carat each old mine diamonds. It's a beautiful, simple earring, and yet there's a beautiful antique twist to it. You can see it in the design above the earring.
Well, you have a diamond, as you said, a diamond earring here that has a style, and is distinctive and is different.
And it takes you right back to the late 1800s, when you can imagine someone right out of Bridgerton wearing this earring, right? And finally, the Etruscan Revival gold holoform earrings. Wonderful design. The Etruscan Revival period was in the 1800s. The jewelers of that era were looking backwards to ancient civilizations, and the Etruscan Revival movement is really about this granulated gold, and the surface of the gold has these little granulations that you can see the texture, and it makes for a more interesting earring.
And you also have great design motifs that came with the Etruscan Revival movement, spheres, darts, and here you have them featured in this wonderful earring. The spheres are holoform, that we talked about that. So they're light, but they've just have great design. How pretty they are.
A lot of presents. These earrings are $4,500. And then, what would you wear with these earrings on your wrists? You could stack bangles. Just as we do today with modern designs, you can always stack antique bangles, and the Victorian period has a wonderful selection of bangles to choose from. And so here we see Etruscan Revival. Again, this Etruscan style continues.
Well, it was such a strong, an important movement in the 19th century, and using gold, granulation, and bangles go back to antiquity. So that is part of the popularity of bangles in the 19th century. And this is a wonderful bracelet with cabochon rubies.
It's got 1.8 carats of rubies around the bracelet. This is $14,500 in 15 carat yellow gold. Now, 15 carat yellow gold
It's English.
is an English thing. It is the standard of gold that was used in jewelry made in England in the Victorian period was 15 carat gold. So the dead giveaway when something is 15 carat, it is an English piece by background. And then here we see a 14 karat yellow gold wirework bangle bracelet. So again, a little bit of design to the bracelet. You see the wirework on the piece itself. This is in 14 karat yellow gold, most likely indicating that it was American made in that period. We date it to 1912. And how do we know to date it to 1912? Well, there's personal engraving on the inside that actually lists the date.
There you go.
And that is how we know. It's not much of a mystery when you have it written on the inside of the piece.
Okay, and what's the other bangle?
And the other gold bangle that we're seeing it paired with here is 14 karat yellow gold engraved bangle by a company called Riker Brothers. Riker Brothers was one of the Newark, New Jersey
That's right.
makers. Fun fact coming for you. Newark, New Jersey, in the 1900s and that turn of the century, for about the next 20 or so years, was one of the most creative and important spots for jewelry manufacturing. You saw beautiful work being done in Art Nouveau styles and the early Edwardian jewelry. You see a lot of enamel work, a lot of granulated gold work in Newark, New Jersey. Today, it's not really a center for jewelry manufacturing, but it really was a place, and Riker Brothers was one of the most notable makers from Newark, New Jersey in that period.
Well, it was an important center that was not only supplying the American market, but also they were exporting to England.
And it's a perfect example of when a cluster of talented people together, they feed on each other and they really can accelerate the movement of design ideas. And you saw a lot of great work coming out of all these. And they're all referencing each other in that respect. But really, it's a lot of fun to learn about that movement, the Newark, New Jersey movement. And then, of course, signed Fred Leighton piece, our collet set bangle. using Fred Leighton round diamonds, our take on the Old European, the perfected Old European cut. That is a perfect piece by itself or stacked together.
And again, a take on the beautiful, inspired by the collet setting, with the beautiful patina that the silver has as it ages and oxidizes. So, and how beautifully does it work with the gold? It just, they complement each other, and they,